बलबम रसीदा बलबम रसीदा जानम तू भी आके जिंदा मानम बलबम रसीदा जानम हाँ बलबम रसीदा जानम अरे हाँ बलबम रसीदा जानम के जिंदा मानम तू बिया के जिंदा मानम तू बिया 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 बलबम
शैतानुर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम कुल हुवल्लाहु अहद अल्लाहु समद लम यलिद वलम यूलद वलम यकुन लहू कुफुवन अहद सदक़ल्लाहु मौलानुल अज़ीम। अब आपकी इजाज़त से सबसे पहले साज़ीना पेश कर रहे हैं जो कि क़व्वाली की इफ्तिताह है। उसके बाद दीगर मज़ामीन की तरफ आएंगे, अली भाई भी साथ हो जाएंगे।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure in welcoming you to tonight's seminar on Qawwali. The seminar is meant to introduce Qawwali, its fundamentals, its history, its evolution, and its basics to you. Later on, you will hear who I believe are the greatest living Qawwals in the world today in the evening. So this is just a preparatory seminar. There's not a lot of people, so you get to ask a lot of questions. You get to shape the seminar the way you want it, okay? It'll take us about 2 hours to go through the material that we have. We'll have a lecture, we'll have demos, and we'll have a short performance as well. Is that fair? Okay. What to talk about is, what is Qawwali? As we go through the presentation, we would go, I have a request, do you mind moving here to the center? Yeah. That way I can make eye contact better. Okay. So a lot of times the question is asked, what is Qawwali? And as we go through the presentation, we will define Qawwali in a very formal way. But let me begin by saying that Qawwali is a celebration of love. There is nothing more and nothing less to Qawwali. And it can be the love for God, it can be the love for the Prophet, for Ali, for Hussein, for Hassan. It can be the love for Ram, for Krishna, for Jesus, for Buddha. It can be the love for your spouse, for your daughter, for your son, for your parents. But it has to be love, and you need to be celebrating it for it to be called Qawwali. Now, there are two types of love that are defined in literature and poetry, especially Persian, Urdu, Hindi, and Arabic poetry. One is known as ishq-e-majazi. It is the love that you have for other humans. And then there's the ishq-e-haqiqi, which is the love that you have for the Creator. And a lot of poetry talks about either ishq-e-haqiqi or ishq-e-majazi. And then there is poetry where this is left ambiguous. And that is where the poetry of Qawwali comes in. Qawwali means different things to different people. When you are performing a Qawwali, I may be thinking of my wife. You may be thinking about your son. A third person may be thinking about God. A fourth person may be thinking about one of the deities. The important thing to remember here is that in Qawwali, you are thinking about the one that you love. It can be a human or it can be the Creator, but it has to be a thought of love that is united by Qawwali. Now, Qawwali has existed for more than 3,200 years. And a lot of times people ask me, but Islam is only 1400 years old. How is it that Qawwali predates Islam? And the truth is, Qawwali predates Islam by about 1800 years, possibly more. The important thing to remember here is that Qawwali is about love. And for as long as human beings have had the capacity to love, they have had the capacity to perform, listen to, and participate in Qawwali. The earliest recorded history of Qawwali is found in the Vedic transcripts, which are the chants and the sarotas and the mantras that were recited in the temples 3,200 years ago. Now, at that time, the temples were not just places of worship. They were also places where you went for entertainment, to see theater, to see dance, to listen to music. There were also places where you went to see the Ved, who was the doctor, or the women who arranged marriages. You also went there for education. It was the center of all social, cultural, spiritual activity. Those are the temples of the Vedic period. And it is here that Qawwali was born, where they would recite saratas and mantras over and over again in unison, in a fixed tempo, such that an atmosphere was created where you felt elevated in a supernormal state and you felt connected to the one that you loved. Then as Muslims came to the region, they took the same philosophy and started what was known as zikr. And in zikr, you take the name of Allah or one of his attributes, and you keep repeating it in a fixed rhythm, in a fixed voice, until it is like a drone which floats over the room and you feel connected to the Creator. Subhanallah, MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Whatever it is that you're reciting, you repeat it over and over again in a manner that creates a levitating atmosphere of music that levitates over the room, and you feel that you can find a connection to the Creator. Now, Hazrat Moinuddin Chishti, who was the founder of the Chishti Sufi order, added music to zikr. And when you added music to zikr, you got what was sama. And sama was one of the primitive forms of Qawwali. It had dance, it had music, it had poetry. People used intoxicants, people even used alcohol, all that to help them achieve a higher spiritual state. And one of the things that I talk about is that singing of God is very important in all religions. In Islam, it is said that we should glorify the name of the Lord, we should use his name a lot, we should repeat it over and over again. That is what was done in Sama. But please understand that this is not exclusive to Islam. if we look at the Bible, it says that anyone who calls the name of Jesus is going to be saved. The same is said in Hinduism, in the Buddhist sutras. Every religion talks about thinking of the Creator, using his names, celebrating his attributes, and repeating them over and over again. So one of the things that we need to remember is that Qawwali can be about God, but it does not have to be. Qawwali can be about religion, but it does not have to be. However, it must always be about love. And love is the topic of Qawwali, and that is always included in Qawwali. And at this point, I'm going to ask Ghayoor-Moiz-Mustafa Qawwals to sing what is known as a hamd, which is a song in praise of the Creator, God Allah, in Raag and Taal, Chap of 10 beats. Allahu Allah, Jane Shane Allah. Please.
कभी बज़्म जाम से काबे से काबे से काबे से बुतकदे से कभी बज़्म जाम में जाम से आवाज दे रहा हूँ तुझे हर मकाम से अल्लाहु अल्लाह अल्लाहु अल्लाह अल्लाहु अल्लाह जल्ला शान अल्लाह
अल्लाहु अल्लाह जल्ला
शान अल्लाह अल्लाह अल्लाह
अल्लाहु
अल्लाह जल्ला शान अल्लाह तेरो नाम में ली है मेरी हो रे तसल्ला
अल्लाहु अल्लाह जल्ला
अल्लाहु अल्लाह ये हम्द का एक सेगा है कि ऐ मेरे मौला तेरा नाम लेने से सिर्फ तेरा ही वो वाहिद नाम है जो लेने से मेरे दिल को तसल्ली मिलती है तेरो नाम ली है मेरी हो रे
तसल्ला अल्लाहु अल्लाह
हाँ साहब ये राग भैरव है जैसे कि बताया अली भाई ने समाज फरमाइए सरे गम गरे सा सरे गम पम गरे सा सरे गम पद पद म पद नि सा नि रे सा नि ध प म ग ग रे रे सा
अल्लाहु अल्लाह
रे सा ग रे सा सरे ग ग ग ग ग ग ग रे सा रे नि नि सा ग रे सा सरे गम प प प प प प प म प ध ध प ध म ध ध ध प ध म ध ध ध प ध म प नि 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 प नि सा सा रा 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 प नि सा ग रे 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 सा दा दा नि 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 ध ध ध प प प म म म ग ग ग रे 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 सा दा दा
अल्लाहु
तू रहीम तू करीम तू
रहीम तू तू रहीम तू रहीम तू करीम
तू सत्तार तू गफ्फार
तू रहीम तू करीम तू तू रहीम तू
सनी 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 द प म प द प म ग म प म ग रे ग म ग रे ज रे ग रे सनी सनी द ध नि नि ज ज रे रे ग ग म म प प द ध नि 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 द प म ग रे सनी द द प ध नि 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 ध नि स स ध नि ज रे 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 ज रे ग ग ग रे ग म म म ग रे ग म प म ग म द प म ग म प ध नि द प म ग म प ध नि ज नि रे ज ग ग रे ज नि द प म प द द
तू रहीम तू
तू करीम तू सत्तार तू गफ्फार हर सूते हारो
हर सूते हारो है ये तजल्ला अल्लाहु अल्लाह जल्ला
शान अल्लाह
क्या बात है, क्या बात है, क्या बात है. So, one of the things that I like to talk about is the word ishq, which is really the subject of Qawwali. And although we translate it into English as love, that is not really a good translation. Because the word for love in Urdu is pyar, muhabbat. Ishq does not have an equivalent in the English language. So let's talk about the difference. When you have muhabbat for somebody, when you have pyar for somebody, when you love somebody, you want to be with them. You want to spend time with them. You want to enjoy with them. You want to do things together. Ishq is completely different. When you have ishq for somebody, you want to annihilate yourself and become one with your beloved. So you want to finish your own existence and you want to be born in the form of the one that you love. And ishq, in essence, is the subject of Qawwali. And what a Qawwal does when he performs is that he forms a connection. He forms an atmosphere where you feel connected to your beloved. So the purpose of Qawwali is to offer you a vehicle to feel connected to the one that you love. So we first said it was a celebration of love. It is. And now we are saying it is also a vehicle which creates a connection between the one that you love and yourself. And that is the purpose of Qawwali. Now, when when Muslims started coming to South Asia, tradesmen, philosophers, businessmen, warriors, rulers, they wanted to attract people to Islam. They also wanted to show people the tolerant, the loving, the peaceful side, the understanding side of Islam. And this was a very different era where we had a very rigid caste system in India known as the Varan. In the Varan system, we had 4 classes of people. They were the Brahmins on the top, who were the knowledge keepers, who spoke Sanskrit, and who were the priests and the teachers and the scholars. Then we had the Kshatriyas, who were the warriors, the administrators, and the rulers. We had the Vaishyas, who were the merchants, the tradesmen, the storekeepers, the artisans. And we had the Shudras, who were the laborers. So in hierarchy, it was Brahmins above Kshatriyas, above Vaishyas, above Shudras. And then we had the Dalit, who were considered so menial, so much below everyone else that they were not even given a caste system. They said they don't even deserve a caste. They were just called Dalit. And life was not easy for them. They were not allowed to read books. They were not allowed to learn how to read. They were not allowed to listen to music. They were not allowed to wear shoes, for example. They had to have a broom always attached to their dress so that people would know that they were Dalits and stay away. And I'll give you an idea how bad it was. The Dalits were not allowed to come out of their homes around sunrise and around sunset. And let me tell you the reason. At sunset and sunrise, the sun is on your side, and the shadow that you form is very long. And people were afraid that if the shadow of a Dalit fell on one of the higher castes, they would become impure. So what was the easiest way to attract these people to Islam? Give them love, respect, and understanding that had been denied to them, and teach them music, dance, philosophy, literature, and poetry. And Qawwali was the perfect vehicle for doing all of this. And Qawwali was therefore used extensively to attract people to Islam. A lot of people think that the Khiljis, the Mughals, and all these warriors brought Islam to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the region. That is patently untrue. Nobody ever changes their religion, their faith, based on might of the sword. You have to show people that you have a better religion, or a religion that would afford you a better life, because it's unfair to say that one religion is better than the other. But you have to show people what the religion is all about, and if they like and respect it, they adopt it, and if they don't, they don't. So this is where the association between Qawwali and Islam developed. So it was used, and it was used a lot. And at this point, I'm going to ask the Qawwals to perform what is known as a Qasida. A Qasida is an ancient Arabic form, and the Qasida that they're going to sing is a Qasida known as the Burda Sharif, which is the Qasida of the blanket. And there's a long story behind it, but what it is said is that if you have an ailment which is debilitating, like paralysis, or that doesn't allow you to walk and associate with people, if you properly recite and listen to Qasida Burda Sharif, you would be cured. It was written by Imam al-Busiri, and it's in the Arabic style of music, which is why I'm going to ask them to perform it now. Qasida Burda Sharif, Imam al-Busiri.
وأحسن منك وأحسن منك لم تر قط عيني وأحسن منك لم تر قط عيني وأجمل منك وأجمل منك لم تلد النساء خلقت مبرم تمام عیبوں سے وہ ذات بری ہے خلقت مبرم من كل عيب كأنك قد خلقت كما تشاء پڑھو درود दाइमन अबदन
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम दाइमन अबदन मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम
दाइमन अबदन
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम दाइमन अबदन
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम
दाइमन
अबदन
अला हबीबी का खैर खल्क़े कुल्लिहिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम दाइमन अबदन
हो पढ़ो दुरूद पढ़ो मोमिनो करीने से
पढ़ो दुरूद पढ़ो मोमिनो पढ़ो दुरूद पढ़ो मोमिनो करीने से
हुजूर खुद ही चले आएंगे मदीने से
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम दाइमन
जिक्र आली वकार करते हैं
ज़िक्र आली वकार करते हैं ज़िक्र आली वकार करते हैं
शगले परवरदिगार करते हैं
शगले परवरदिगार करते हैं
उन पे हरदम दुरूद पढ़ते हैं
उन पे हरदम दुरूद पढ़ते हैं
हम यही कारोबार करते हैं
हम यही कारोबार करते हैं
और ऐसे दर का गदा हूँ मैं जिसकी
ऐसे दर का गदा हूँ मैं जिसकी
ऐसे दर का गदा हूँ
मैं जिसकी
नौकरी ताजदार करते हैं
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम हो दाइमन अबदन
ऐसे दर का गदा हूँ मैं जिसकी
ऐसे दर का गदा हूँ मैं जिसकी
नौकरी ताजदार करते हैं
मौलाया सल्ले व
सल्लिम दाइमन
अबदन अला हबीबी का खैरुल खल्क़े कुल
तू साहिबल जमाल है तू सैयदल बशर
साहिबल जमाल है
ओ
तू साहिबल जमाल है तू सैयदल बशर तेरी ज़ियाए रुख है शबे तार की सहर तेरी ज़ियाए रुख है शबे तार की सहर
लाऊं कहाँ से लफ्ज जो तेरी सना करूं
लाऊं कहाँ से लफ्ज जो तेरी सना करूं
और मोहसिन कहूँ बशर का हबीबे खुदा कहूँ
मोहसिन कहूँ बशर का हबीबे खुदा कहूँ
वो कट जाए सारी उम्र तेरे जिक्र पाक में
कट जाए सारी उम्र तेरे हो कट जाए सारी उम्र तेरे जिक्र पाक में
मिल जाए मेरी खाक मदीने की खाक में
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम
हुवल हबीबुल्लज़ी तुरजा शफाअतुहु
हुवल हबीबुल्लज़ी तुरजा शफाअतुहु
तुरजा शफाअतुहु
तुरजा शफाअतुहु
हुवल हबीबुल्लज़ी तुरजा शफाअतुहु
लिकुल्लि हौल मिनल अहवाल मुक़तहिम
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम दाइमन अला मुस्तफा
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ले अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ले अला मुस्तफा हबीबना मुहम्मद अलैहिस्सलाम हबीबना मुहम्मद अलैहिस्सलाम
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम
मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम मौलाया सल्ले व सल्लिम
सुभान अल्लाह, क्या बात है। Kya baat hai ji. So by the 12th and the 13th century, Qawwali in its various forms was being practiced all over what is today India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, South Asia. At this time, Amir Khusro, rahmatullah alayh, who was a musician, a musicologist, a poet, a literary figure, a warrior, a politician, and much else, decided to make Qawwali a proper form of music, poetry, spiritualism, and philosophy, and established some rules, some regulations, and some guidelines for the performance, practice, and listening of Qawwali. So he is the one who established it as a proper genre of music, poetry, and a vehicle for philosophical and literary thought. And he is the one who formed what is today known as Khusravi Qawwali, and the only form of Qawwali that has survived for 800 years. Now, how did this take place? He was a disciple of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya, the Chishti saint, and this was during the period of Alauddin Khilji, who was the second ruler of the Khilji dynasty. At that time, there was a very famous musician in southern India known as Pandit Gopal. Pandit Gopal traveled with 10,000 of his students all the way to Delhi and went to the court of Alauddin Khilji and said that I have prepared some music that I want to perform for you, but it's going to take a long time because it has 28,000 lines of verse. So for 3 full weeks, he performed what was the Chand, Dua, Geet, Matha, Gobind, and Prabandh in the court of Alauddin Khilji. And each one of the lines of verse was in the form of a question. It was said, my God walks on water. What can your God do? My God can eat fire. What can your God do? My God can ride on a lion. What can your God do? So after 3 weeks, everybody was impressed. They were stunned. They listened to 28,000 lines of verse from a very capable musician, and they were all in Sanskrit. They could not understand it. So before I complete the story, I'm going to ask the Qawwals to give you a taste of what the Chand, Dua, Geet, Prabandh, Matha were, just so you have an idea. So they're going to perform a little bit of the Geet Gobind in Sanskrit, the same song that was performed 800 years ago in the court of Alauddin Khilji. Beta?
Kamaal nayan kirpal ke
हमद दरन से तरनम दीनानात दयाल सिद्ध सुद्ध सुरभाव के बिहार अवतारनम गिरपत गोपाल
अघम अगोचर निरंजन निराकार सभी साकार सरिष्ट करनम
That was the song Pandit Gopal, along with 10,000 of his students, performed in the court of Alauddin Khilji. Now, Alauddin Khilji was a Muslim ruler of northern India. He was not very happy with the performance because Pandit Gopal challenged him and he said, either show me a musician who can sing something as good, if not better than mine, or proclaim me as the greatest musician of South Asia. So he sent for Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia and said, Nizam, I have heard that you have a student called Amir Khusro who knows music, who knows poetry, who knows language. Can you please ask him to do a performance in my court which is going to be better than the performance of Pandit Gopal? Nizamuddin Aulia asked Amir Khusro, and Amir Khusro said, I will go to the court, but I don't want to be embarrassed. I will sit behind a veil and listen to Pandit Gopal perform for 3 full weeks. And if I feel that I cannot match his music, I will just come back and admit that I can't. And if I can, I will let you know. So sure enough, he went there and he listened to the music and he felt that he could do better. And he said, give me 6 weeks and I will come back. 6 weeks later, he came back, did not perform himself, brought 12 young men with him and had them perform what was called Gul, Khayal, Naksh, Kalbana, Qawl and Tarana, which are 6 forms of Qawwali, and these comprised of only 28 lines. He responded to 28,000 lines with 28 lines, and I'm going to ask them to sing some of the reply too. And the reply was very simple. Your God can walk over water, but my God created the water. Your God can eat fire, but my God created the fire. Your God can ride on a lion, but my God created the lion. So these lines were performed by the 12 young men in the court of Khilji over a matter of an hour.
والكمال والجبروت سبحان الملك المعبود سبحان الملك المقصود سبحان الملك الموجود سبحان الملك الحي الذي لا ينام ولا يموت ولا يفوت أبدا أبدا سبحان قدوس سبحان قدوس ربنا ورب الملائكة والروح حي حي قيوم قيوم حي 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 قيوم قيوم دانوم 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 سبحان ذي الملك والملكوت.
So who were these 12 young men who performed? We'll talk about that, but once the performance was over, Pandit Gopal came and sat at the feet of Amir Khusro and he said, you are the greater musician. I admit that I am not as good as you are. And Amir Khusro said, that is not the truth. The truth is that you are a bigger musician and a bigger poet. But I came here with the blessings of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia and therefore was able to beat you. And you came here with pride in yourself and no love for your teacher, and that is why you lost. And that is when he asked to become a student of Nizamuddin Aulia. And Nizamuddin Aulia said, "You're already a great artist, just understand how to love." And that is how the story ended. But let me talk to you about a young man known as Mian Samad bin Ibrahim. This was a young man who was not able to speak, and his father was not able to see. And every evening, just before the Maghrib prayer, he would take his father, hold his hand, and take him out for a walk along the banks of the river Ganges. And Amir Khusro and Nizamuddin Aulia would see them, and he really liked the fact that a kid who is barely in his teens is so responsible that he brings his father out for a walk every day. He inquired about him, and he said, the child is in love with his father and feels bad that the father cannot see. But he doesn't want him to remain in the house locked up all day. He wants him to listen to the sound of the river flowing, of the birds chirping, of the animals, of the sounds of nature. And Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia asked the two of them to come to his khanqa and said, Samad, I really admire the love that you have for your father, and may God restore your ability to speak, and may God give your father the ability to see. And in a matter of days, both of the prayers were answered. So Mian Samad bin Ibrahim's father came and said, you keep my son, you teach him. And Nizamuddin Aulia made Samad bin Ibrahim the student of Hazrat Amir Khusro. Samad bin Ibrahim became the very first Khusravi Qawwal in this world. Hazrat Amir Khusro taught him everything that was to be taught about Qawwali, about music, about Raag, about Taal, about poetry. And he also recruited 11 other young men. And together the group of 12 came to be known as Dilli ke Qawwal Bacche. Qawwal means Qawwal, people who sing Qawwali, Bacche, children. Delhi, of course, being the city. And he asked them to travel all over South Asia, far and wide, to show people how Qawwali is properly performed, how you hold a Mehfil of Qawwali, how you engage with the participants, how you bring them closer to their beloved, and what rules, what regulation, what tenets to follow. These Qawwals are the very first Qawwals of the world, and Mian Samad bin Ibrahim's descendants have carried on the tradition very faithfully for 800 years ago. The many songs that Mian Samad bin Ibrahim remembered have been carried forward by their children and still performed today in the same Raag, same Taal, same tempo, same scale. It is our great fortune that we have amongst us Qawwals who represent the 26th generation of Mian Samad bin Ibrahim. These young men traced their lineage directly to Mian Samad bin Ibrahim. Please allow me to introduce to you Muhammad Shah, Ghayoor Ahmad, Moiz Ayaz, Mustafa Abu Muhammad, Balik Shah, Haris Hassan, Tehseen Haider, and Zarar at the back. These gentlemen are descendants of the very first original Qawwals in the world. And I want you to know that the music that you're listening to today is the same music that was practiced 800 years ago. We have made sure that the poetry, the items, the Qawwalis that we select today are authentic ones, are not one of those that are sung today in films, certainly not the ones that are performed on Coke Studio, and none of the ones which are fused with other forms of music. There are not many Qawwals in the world who remember the tune, the mode, the taal, the tempo of all the music that we are going to sing today. And at this point, I'm going to ask them to perform a song known as Geet, which is Chap Tilak Sab Cheen Liye Mose Naina Milai Ke. Now, in the beginning of this Geet, there is a little doha which says, Apni chab banai ke, jo main pee ke paas gayi, jab chab dekhi pihu ki, so main apni bhool gayi. Now, does everyone understand what this means? More or less? It says, apni chab banai ke. I dressed up, wore all the makeup, wore jewelry to go and visit my beloved. Apni chab banai ke, jo main pee ke paas gayi. Jab chab dekhi pihu ki. But when I looked at my beloved, he was so much prettier, so much more beautiful, ke main apni bhool gayi, that I forgot what I looked like. Now, this has a romantic meaning. But do you remember that I said that poetry of Qawwali means different things to different people? Amir Khusro had something else in mind. He was a brilliant philosopher, a child prodigy, who knew a lot about poetry, music, philosophy, literature, well before he became a student of Nizamuddin Aulia. And he said, apni chab banai ke, that I collected knowledge from all over the world. I became learned, I became important, I became a scholar. Jo main pee ke paas gayi, I went into the discipleship of Nizamuddin Aulia. But when I saw his knowledge, jab chab dekhi pihu ki, so main apni bhool gayi and I realized I have nothing. Now for somebody else, when I listen to it very differently. A lot of spiritual people, the saints, the prophets, the deities, spend their entire life praising God, praying, doing good deeds, making people happy. And then after death, they face God. And they say, apni chab banai ke, like I cleansed my soul, I became the best person that I could. Jo main pee ke paas gayi, I went in front of God. But when I saw God's kindnesses, I thought about all the sins that I had committed that he had overlooked. And I said, I was nothing. I just forgot everything in the love of God. So it is important to know that there are multiple meanings to seemingly simple, mundane words of the Qawwali, and everyone present here and elsewhere in a Mehfil Sama will have their own unique experience. So ladies and gentlemen, Chap Tilak sab chheen li re, mujhse nahi na milai ke, Raag Tilak ka mod, Taal kehrwa.
छप बनाई के मैं तो पी के पास गई
अपनी छप छप बनाई के मैं तो पी के पास गई
अपनी छप बनाई के मैं तो पी के पास गई और जब जब देखी पीहू की जब जब देखी पीहू की मैं तो अपनी भूल गई छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह से
नैना
मिला के
छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह से नैना मिला
छाप तिलक सब छीने बालम ने मुँह से छाप तिलक हो प्यारे बालम ने मुँह से अपनी छप बनाई के मैं तो पी के पास गई
अपनी छप बनाई के
मैं तो पी के पास गई
मैं तो पी के पास गई मैं तो पी
जब जब देखी पीहू की मैं अपनी भूल गई
छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह
नैना रे मोसे
नैना नैना रे मोसे नैना नैना रे मोसे नैना 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 मोसे नैना नैना रे
हो नैना मिलाओ के सहना चलाओ के
नैना मिला हो सेना चला के
नैना मिला
आहे मुंह पे सेना चला के मुंह पे सेना चला के मुंह पे सेना
नैना मिलाओ के सहना चलाओ के
बात अघम कह दी नीरे मुंह से नैना मिला के
बल बल जाऊं मैं तोरे रंग रे जीवा
पल पल जा हो तोरे रंग रिझवा पल पल जाऊं मैं
तोरे रंग रे जीवा मैं
तोरे रंग रिझवा मैं तोरे रंग
बल बल जाऊं तोरे बल बल जाऊं हे बल बल जाऊं मैं तोरे रंग रे जीवा बल बल जाऊं मैं तोरे रंग रे जीवा
अपनी सी रंग दी बाल मिले मोसे नैना
जो मुझे देखता है नाम तेरा लेता है
जो मुझे देखता है नाम तेरा ले जो मुझे देखता है नाम तेरा लेता है
मैं तो खामोश हूँ निस्बत मेरी खामोश नहीं बल बल जाऊं
तोरे रंग रिझवा
बल बल जाऊं मैं तोरे रंग रिझवा
अपनी सी रंग दी मेरे मोसे नैना
गोरी गोरी बैया गोरी गोरी बैया हरी हरी चूड़िया
गोरी गोरी बैया हरी हरी चूड़िया गोरी गोरी बैया
आओ हे वाव में हरी हरी चूड़िया वाव में
हरी हरी चूड़िया में हरी हरी चूड़िया
गोरी गोरी बैया गोरी गोरी बैया वाव में
हरी हरी चूड़िया पैया पकड़ हर ली नीरे मोसे नैना मिला के पैया पकड़ हर
ली नीरे मोसे नैना मिला के
चाप तिलक सब
The 6 items that Amir Khusro had responded with was known as the Tarana. And this is not the national anthem that we talk about. The Tarana is a song that is composed of words that are Arabic, Turkish, Persian origin in nature and are phonemes which are difficult to pronounce for people who have spoken Brij Bhasha, Hindi and Sanskrit all their lives. And Amir Khusro purposely created them to give an edge to his Muslim students. A lot of people claim that these words have no meaning, and that is exactly wrong. Each one of the words used in the Tarana have a meaning. Ya Lala, Ya Allah, Ya Lali, Ya Ali. O Dani, he knows. Tu dani, you know. Nadir dani, I know nothing. Tandir dani, come and be one with me. Dar, come towards me. Dare-a, tandarya, come and be one with me. And these words are used to form what is known as a Tarana. And I'm going to ask them to perform a Tarana in Raag Bihag. And the reason I have picked that is that there's a Kathak dancer in Pakistan, Nahid Siddiqui. Her student is here, and she used to perform on this Tarana, Dani Nadir Dirtuyum Tana. If you have seen Payal, she performed that wearing a black dress against a blue background, Bihag Tarana. And we have the lay and the tal, which is the rhythmic element. So a sur is very simply a note of music, and we have 7 basic notes, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. As we go from sa to re, from re to ga, ga to ma, ma to dha, and ni, the frequency increases from left to right. So re has a higher frequency than sa, for example. Now, these notes have names in all languages because I would say 9 out of 10, 99% of the time, these notes are the same all over the world. There are a few musical systems, some in Turkey, some in Indonesia, which have a different number of notes, but the notes are the same pretty much all over the world. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si in Western music. Now, the reason I mentioned that the same notes are used all over the world is that I want you to understand the origin of these notes. What do you think is the probability of one country in Brazil having 7 notes, and another country in the Middle East having the same 7 notes, and a third one in Australia, and a 4th one in South Asia? At that time, we didn't have ships, we didn't have trains, we didn't have airplanes. How was it that the same notes, the same 7 notes, were performed all over the world, even though people could not travel from one continent to the other? And there are 2 reasons. People took the sounds of the nature, the chirping of the birds, the singing of the quail, the roaring of the lion, and converted them into notes. And they could only convert notes that were easy to deliver through the throat. So the sounds of nature, which sounded good and which could be reproduced with the throat, became the 7 notes all over the world. Now, we have 7 notes, but there are certain forms of some notes. Sa and pa are known as fixed notes, and they have only one variant known as Shuddh Sa, Shuddh Pa, Shuddh being pure. Now, re, ga, ma, dhani have two variants each, a higher and a lower frequency variant. Ma has the Shuddha Ma and a higher frequency Tivar Ma. And re, ga, dhani have the Shuddha re, ga, dhani and the lower form Komal re, ga, dhani. So 7 Shuddha notes, 1 Tivar, and 5 Komal. We have 12 notes in all. So there are 12 notes in music, not quite 7. So if you're being accurate, you would say there are 12 notes in music. Sa, re, re, ga, ga, ma, ma, pa, dha, dha, ni, ni. These are the 12 notes. Now, these 12 notes form a saptak, which is an octave. When you go from one sa to the next one, the frequency is doubled. And a rag is just a sequence of these 12 notes subject to some rules and some regulations. And these are the things that define a rag. And the reason that I mention this is very important. When you look at Western music, when you look at Middle Eastern music, when you look at American music, it is complex and it's written and it's rehearsed and it's pre-planned in general. The music here in South Asia is all based on improvisation. Everything about a rag can be said in one page. And then it is up to the musician to sing it for an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on his intellect, his prowess, his talent, his mood, his disposition. We have Arohi, which is ascent, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni. Avrohi, Sa, Ni, Dha, Pa, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. Pakad, which are characteristic phrases. For example, in Aman, we would say Ni, Re, Ga, Ni, Re, Sa. Jati means the class. There are 3 jatis. Adav, Arag, which have 5 notes. Khadav, which have 6 notes. And Sampuran, which have 7 notes. The day has been divided into 8 pahars, 8 periods or 8 prahars of 3 hours each. And each rag can only be sung in 1 3-hour period. We have ras. There are 9 emotions in music. And each rag has one of those emotions. We have vadi, which is the note which is used the most. The samvadi, which is used second most frequently. The anuvadi, which is a regular note. Vivadi is a note which is not allowed. And a kansur is a grace note. This is all there is to a rag. It may seem a little overwhelming and confusing, but it's not much to learn. Try memorizing one of the symphonies of Beethoven and then compare it with this. But with these rules, you can create magic for hours and hours at end. So we are good with rag. We'll have an example too. Now let's talk about lay. The same way that we had the sounds of nature, we had the beat of the heart, which was 80 beats per second. That came to be known as barabar or madh lay. If you double its tempo, it becomes 160 beats per minute, and that is drut. If you quadruplate it, it becomes 320 beats per minute, and that's known as anudrut. You have the standard madh lay, and we have 40 beats per minute known as balampat, and you reduce it further by half, and you have ati balampat, which is 20 beats per minute. These are the 5 standard tempi in South Asian music. And the way we had sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, we have syllables of percussion as well. And Haris will play some of these for you. Na, tu, tere kit, tete kata gadi gine dha. Tete kata gidi gine dha. Titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine dha, titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine dha, titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine, titikata gidigine dha. Na din din na, 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 na din din na dha, na din din na, na din din na dha, na din din na, na din din na dha. So this is how the words and the mnemonics of percussion are used to create a time cycle. A time cycle is known as tal. And there are only 5 things that define a tal. Sam, which is the first beat, tali, a stress, khali, a negation of stress, avardi, the full cycle, and vibhag, the portions within the cycle. So let's take teen tal, which is the basic and the most complex and the easiest tal at the same time of South Asian music. Dha, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, tin, tin, ta, da, din, din, da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. One beat is sam. The tali is on 1, 9, and 13. And when good listeners are listening to music, they would clap at 1, 3, 5, and 13. 1, 5, and 13. And then when you have a khali on 9, which is a negation of stress, you would wave your hand. And then we have the vibhag, which are nadin dhinna, nadin dhinna, nadin dhinna, nadin dhinna. And then the whole avardi, which is the whole 16 beats. And so that we have a cheat sheet that we can print, we have all of this on one slide. That's all there is about tal. But I want you to indulge me a little. I want you to learn how to clap and count beats with me. And here is how we will do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Please play a lehra, and I will show you how we compose different things. Since we have a dancer in the audience, I will try to not make a fool of myself. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Dha, din, din, da, dha, din, din, da, dha, din, din, da, dha, din, din, da. Da te te da te te da da te te da ge tina ginna da te te da te te da da te te da ge tina ginna. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Da te te da te te da da te te da ge tina ginna da te te da te te da da te te da ge tina ginna. Da te te da te te da te da da te te da te te da te da da te te da te te da te da. Din din da. Pura hai? Din, din, na. So let's play something by Naheed. Na, na, din. Let me remember, yeah. Ta, thaya, thaya, tunga, kirde. Ta, ta, ka, tunga, digi, 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 thay. Ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay. Ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, 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 thay. Ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, na, din, na, din, na. So I have to do this again because I messed it up. Ta, thaya, thaya, tunga, dig, dig. Ta, ta, ka, tunga, dig, 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 thay. Ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay. Ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay. Ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay, ta, ta, thay. Ta, na, din. Na, na, din, din. Na, na, din, din. Na, din, din, na. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. ठीक है जी, आपके उस्ताद का याद है? ठीक है? His teacher composed this tukra. It's a Natvari tukra. So let's talk about the fact, why did we go into Raag and Taal? Because classical Qawwali is always performed in a Raag, in a Taal, and adheres to all the rules of Raags and Taals. In fact, Hazrat Amir Khusro invented Raags which were best known for Qawwali and Taals. One of the Raags was Aman, Bahar, Mujir, Zilaf, Shahana, Sarparda. All of these rags were appropriate for Qawwali, and he invented tals like the 14-beat Frodas, the 5-beat Sulfakhta, the 8-beat Qawwali ka tal. And these were used by him to compose Qawwali, and the Qawwali tal is 8 beats, which is din din da da tin tin da da din din da da tin tin da da din din da da tin tin da 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 tin tin da da din din da da tin tin da 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 da. So we have a very simple tal of 8 cycles which was used in Qawwali, but he also composed some very complex tals, and one of them was Asule Fakhta. How many beats does it have? 5. Okay. And this he picked up from nature as well. Okay? How does it go? Din din da da, din din da da, katta, din din da da, din din da da, katta, din din da da, din din da da, katta. So this is 5 beats. Where did he got it from? Asule Fakhta. Asul means rule. Asule means the rule of. Fakhta means the dove. How does the dove fly? It pulls the air twice, din din da da, din din da da, and then it katta, then it glides forward. So let's show them. Din din da da, din din da da, katta, din din da da, din din da da, katta, din din da da, din din da da, katta. So this is how the dove flies. And this was the cycle of 5 beats. Din din da da, din din da da, katta, katta, din da da, din da da, katta, katta, din da da, din da da, katta. Din da da, din da da, katta, katta, din da da, din da da, katta. Din da da, din da da, katta, katta, din da da, din da da, katta. So this is how the 5-beat cycle opens up. And at this point, I think we should illustrate a Raag and Taal by properly having them sing one rather than me mess with it. And I picked a Raag known as Malkauns. It's one of the oldest Raags, and when we had the Raag, Ragini, Putar system, it was one of the major Raags. And it has 5 notes in it. Sa, ga, ma, dhani, sa, when you're going up. Sa, ga, ma, dhani, sa. Sa, ni, dha, ma, ga, sa. The pakad is ni, dha, ni, sa, ma, ga, ma, dha, ma, ga, sa. The note that is used the most was the Wadi Sur, the sonnet, is ma. The second in command is the sa. Ga, dha, ni are used regularly. You are not allowed to use pa and re in Malkauns. It is Ordav in Jat. It's only allowed to use 5 notes. Remember, pa and re are not used. So 7 minus 2 is 5. So it's Ordav. The time is from midnight to 3 in the morning. So raat ka, din ka saatwaं, ya raat ka pehla pehr. And then the ras is virta. Virta means bravery. And there are some film songs like from Ek Thi Ladki song from Love You Hamesha was in Raag Malkauns. We had Akhiyan Sang Akhiyan Lagi Aaj from Bada Aadmi. Then Manna Dey's song, Rafi's song Man Tadpat Hari Darshan Ko. Then Amanat Ali Khan's song Pyar Nahi Hai Sur Se Jisko. It's a very popular Raag. So what I'm going to ask the young men here to sing is a sadara from in Raag Malkauns, which was sung on Coke Studio and called Kangana. It is an ancient form. The Raag will be Malkauns, and the Taal will be the 10-beat Chap Taal, Din na, din, din na, din na, din, din na, Malkauns.
कंगना
Now, Hindustani Sangeet has more than 300 different genres. And one of the things that is special about Qawwali is that each one of these genres can be performed as a Qawwali, in a Qawwali. And there are a lot of songs here, and I won't go through the definitions because I was just reminded we have half an hour left in our 2-hour seminars. But there is something that I want them to perform for us, and that is known as soz. This is part of what is a marsiya, which is an elegiac poem which remembers the martyrdom of Imam Hussain and his family at the hands of Yazid in Maidan-e-Karbala. The soz that they will perform is in Raag Jaunpuri and is sung without any percussion. Ye Hassan ke liye record karna hai. Jasmine? Okay. So soz in Raag Jaunpuri.
ah जान औलिया साहिबे मकाम नबियो अली से साहिबे मकाम नबियो अली दारू शुदा फख्र अंबिया शुदा शान औलिया उम्मीद बा हुसैन बा औलियास्त मुहिब्बाने
So I mentioned that most, if not all, of the 300 plus genres of Hindustani Sangeet can be performed in Qawwali. That begs the question, is Qawwali then a genre of music or not? And the answer is that music is one small component of Qawwali. It has 4 elements. The first one is music, that is the basis. Without music, it is not beautiful, it is not attractive, it doesn't draw towards yourself. Then we have knowledge. A Qawwal needs to know not only music, poetry and literature, but also about culture, the social sciences, about politics, about science, about technology. A good Qawwal should have command over multiple topics and be able to converse in a lot of topics. And then knowledge is not enough if you are not aware, if you don't know what it means. And once you know what it means, you need to be able to use it to connect yourself to the Creator. So it is music, knowledge, awareness, gnosis, or Mausiki, Ilm, Agahi, or Marifat, which come together to form Qawwali. Now in Qawwali, we can classify it both in terms of poetry and music. In music, there are many forms, and these are the ones that I have written. Each one of them was developed by Hazrat Amir Khusro, the Basit, Gul, Hawa, Khayal, Naqsh, Kalbana, Call, Silverts, Sohla, Tarana. But we can also sing other forms, which are Hindu forms or the forms which predate Amir Khusro in Qawwali. In terms of poetry, virtually each and every form and genre of poetry can be sung in Qawwali. And one of the ones that I'm going to ask them to sing now is known as a call, which is a saying of the Prophet. And the famous call that they are going to sing is Man Kunto Maula, which is a call in Raag Shuddh Kalyan Taal Kehrwa.
मनम गुलाम अली 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 माँ में मनसतो मनम गुलाम अली अली मनम गुलाम अली हजार जान गिरामी फिदा बना में अली मन कुल तो मौला मन कुल तो इसके अंदर जो रगे हैं और किंगरी यानी जो साज को बजाने वाला, ये मेरा तन तमाम रबाब है। वो तन रबाब मन की गिरी और रगे भाई सब तार तार,
तन रबाब मन की गिरी तन रबाब मन की गिरी सौ रगे भाई सब तार,
रूम रूम सुर देते हैं सौ बाजत नाम तिहार, ताना ना ताना ना रे ताना ना ताना ना। वो तन रबाब मन की गिरी सौ रगे भाई सब तार तार,
तन रबाब मन की
तन रबाब मन
तन रबाब में खुल तो मौला
So once the seminar is over, we are going to have a Mehfil-e-Sama. And what is a Mehfil-e-Sama? It is a gathering for spiritual listening, where you listen not only with your ears, but with your heart. You soak yourself into the music, in the poetry, and you understand the meaning of spiritual Sufi love. Now, in a Mehfil-e-Sama, you usually begin with a song in praise of God or the Prophet or one of his family members and end with Rang. Always with Rang, and we will end this session with Rang too. But before that, I want to talk about a few things. In a Mehfil-e-Sama, you typically sit on the floor. You do not wear shoes, and the reason for that is that listening to, participating in a Mehfil-e-Sama is like ibadat, like praying to God, and you do not wear shoes while doing that. You participate actively. You say wah wah, you say subhanallah, baat hai, at a very large, high volume, much above the volume of the Qawwals, so it can be heard. And you actively participate because Qawwali is the only form that considers the performer and the listener to be equal. Both of them participate, both of them communicate with each other. And that is one of the things, one of the many things that differentiates Qawwali, because in other performances, the listeners are quiet, they receive, but they don't participate. But in Qawwali, they are equally important. Because without the listeners, the Qawwals will have nobody to connect to their beloved, and their song would just be a regular Geet. It won't be a Qawwali. Now, money is thrown and given a lot in Qawwali. Bail is the money that is given by listeners to the Qawwals to show appreciation. Inam is the money given by elder musicians to junior musicians after a performance, if it is good. Sadqa and Nazar is given to poor people, needy people who may be present. And then Nazar and Nazrana is something junior musicians give to senior musicians before the performance. And please note here the etiquette. The elders will give the juniors money only if they perform well. It will be the inam. But the juniors will give it before the performance because they have to assume that the seniors are going to sing well. They are not in the position to reward them. They just recognize them. Now, one of the things that is never good is the show of money, and you either hide the money in a little pouch or in an envelope or in a handkerchief, and if none is available, under the palm, and you just show that. People who throw money are probably used to Nautanki and Mujra and not to Qawwali. People who know how to listen, who belong to families of Gharanedar Sunavaiyas, don't need to show off money. They can hide and give what they need to give, but people know that they have been fair, they have been honest, and they have been generous. There's no need to show off. Now, with this, I will say a few things before we end with the Rang. This is one of the shorter versions of the slides that I use. Normally, we talk for about 4 hours, but we made a shorter version today because you have a full concert ahead, and that would have ended up becoming an 8-hour event, which is a bit much for most people. If any one of you is interested in these slides, I would be more than happy to share them. Just email them to me. If anyone needs any recordings, I'd be more than happy to share them with you. Just email them to me. And I will leave a few of my business cards here in case somebody wants to take them, so that'll make it easy to email me. I'm usually very, very responsive. Now, I want to talk about, and I say this a lot, about what Rang is and what does it mean to get Range Jana. Let us say this is a piece of cloth, and it's more or less burgundy in color, but it wants to adopt, let's say, green color. what does it have to give through? You first have to put it and boil it in bleach and water so that it loses most of its burgundy color. Then you have to pounce it against stones so that the woof and web are opened. Then you have to add a fixative and pull it in the corners so it's ready for the new color. Then you have to dry it in the sun so that the fixative sets in. Then you have to put it again in boiling water with the color, and then move it through the air, pulling it at different angles before it gets the green color. It's not easy to give up one's color and take up someone else's color. So why do we perform Rang at the end? There are two reasons. The first reason is, actually, why do we perform the Rang at the end? And then there's another thing, when Rang is performed, you always stand up to listen to Rang. When performed correctly, when listened to correctly, Rang is said to corporeally result in the manifestation of your beloved. If you are in love with the Prophet Muhammad, he will visit in a proper mehfil where Rang is sung. Or your deceased mother, or your beloved, or your son, one way or the other, their spirit will appear when Rang is performed. And when your beloved appears before you, the least you can do is stand up, which is why you stand up in a Rang. Why is it sung at the end? The purpose of the Qawwali is to unite the listener with the beloved. Once that has happened, there is no more any need for any Qawwali. The purpose has been achieved. The mehfil comes to an end. And with that, I'm going to ask them to perform the Rang. I would request you to please stand up.
चढ़ी रसूल की सुरंग मौला के हाथ रानी चढ़ी रसूल की सुरंग मौला के हाथ सुरंग मौला के हाथ जिसकी चूंदर रंग दियो सुधन धन्यवाद के बाद आज रंग है ए मां रंग है नी आज रंग है ए मां रंग तेरी आज रंग है सब मिल चलो री आज रंग है ए मां रंग हरी हरी मेरे महबूब के घर तेरी सकीनी मेरे महबूब के घर तेरे महबूब के घर आज रंग है ए मां रंग है आज रंग है के घर रंग हैरी सजन मिलावरा अनंत बतावरा सजन चलोरी मेरा महबूब मिलावरा सजन मिलावरा मोरे घर आज रंग है मोहे पीर पायो निजामुद्दीन औलिया मोहे पीर पायो निजामुद्दीन औलिया निजामुद्दीन औलिया निजामुद्दीन औलिया निजामुद्दीन खाजा निजामुद्दीन औलिया निजामुद्दीन औलिया निजामुद्दीन मोदी ने
औलिया
वो जब देखो मोरे संग है मां रंग है री
वो तो जब देखो रे हाँ वो तो जब देखो रे
वो
वो तो जब देखो मोरे संग है
मां रंग है मैं तो ऐसो रंग
और नहीं देखी रे मैं तो ऐसो रंग और
महबूबे इलाही मैं तो
देश बदेश में ढूंढ फिरी हूँ देश बदेश में ढूंढ फिरी हूँ
बस तोरा रंग मन भायो मैं तोरा रंग
तोरा रंग मन
ओ खाजा
निजा मोदी ने तोरा रंग मन
भायो मैं तोरा रंग
मन भायो मैं तोरा रंग मन भायो मैं तोरा रंग
भूल रही हो माँ
हाँ मैं तो ऐसो रंग
बहुत शुक्रिया आप तमाम हजरात का इस सेमिनार में इस वर्कशॉप में आने का। और मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ इस कंपनी का महफिल आर्ट्स का कि जिन्होंने आप लोगों के लिए ये महफिल का अरेंजमेंट किया। और हम चाहेंगे कि हमारे साथ साथ आपकी भी सपोर्ट इस कंपनी को होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि होता ये है कि ये जो सेमिनार हैं जिसको अली अदनान साहब कर रहे हैं और ये कव्वाली की जो इवेंट यहाँ होते हैं ये इन लोगों के बनाने की वजह से बनते हैं। वरना आम तौर पर मैं अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सारी दुनिया तकरीबन अपने वालिद साहब के साथ घूमता रहता हूँ, इस तरह के सेमिनार पाकिस्तान में भी मौजूद नहीं हैं। इनको इस तरह की सपोर्ट होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि ये घराने जैसे अली भाई ने जिक्र किया कि ये घरानों में मौजूद तो है ये गायकी, मगर उसका गाने वाला मौजूद नहीं है। और वो वजह यह है कि आप जैसे सपोर्ट करने वाले सुनने वाले मौजूद नहीं हैं। इस वजह से ये कंपनीज भी इस तरह के कामों में जो हैं वो करते हुए थोड़ी सी वो अपने आप को सेव करती हैं। तो मेरी आप तक से सबसे दरख्वास्त है कि इस कंपनी के लिए उज़ैर अंसारी, हमारे अज़ीज़ अंसारी साहब जो हैं, इनके लिए एक ताली होनी चाहिए। बहुत शुक्रिया। वो असल में कल की न्यूज़ वालों ने उज़ैर को अजीज़ कह दिया तो मेरे जहन में भी वो अजीज़ अंसारी आ गया।
Shukriya, Moiz bhai. Just wanted to thank everybody first of all for coming today, but I also really wanted to thank Ali Adnan bhai, who's come all the way from Dallas, Texas, and really, you know, I hope you all learned something today, but certainly I hope you felt entertained today. We've done this for the second time. We did one in London and now we did one here. Hopefully this is a format we can continue to support, and we'll need your support. I wanted to thank our Qawwals, Ghayoor-Moiz-Mustafa, everybody else on stage. Thank you. The technical staff, the sound crew, our video team here as well. There is one other announcement. As you all know, there is an evening performance by Fareed Ayaz and Abu Muhammad Bhai. Hopefully everybody can attend. If there's anyone who does not have tickets for that one, they only bought tickets for the seminar, we can upgrade you very easily if you want to meet us outside. Sorry? Yes, and of course there's still 2 hours left. If you want to get other people to come in, we may have a few tickets left that you can get. So thank you all, and hopefully you will join us for that evening.